Hello everyone and welcome to the 2.1 version for our Quidditch Simulator. We've added a new member to the team by the name of Adrian, so we will be adding his name in the description of this video, so you can go to his YouTube channel and check him out. His design work is great. He provided the background here. He also provided a revised startup screen as well as the music for the game, so you can hear that in just a second. So thank you for that, Adrian. As we continue to do more releases, we're going to be increasing his design work throughout the process here, so it's not left with just my programmer art. We added a cheats menu here. We also added a season menu and a momentum menu, and we did some roster tweaks on top of some tuning changes. So while this game is going here, I'll open up our revised tuning. So originally we had the Hogwarts team being at a total of 500 points per team. Then our British Isles teams were at the 750 point mark, and then our professional team was at the 1,000 point mark, but I was noticing that was going to be a little too extreme when it was getting into some games. We had a couple where it was like 1,400 points to nothing, so this way it should give a little bit of a benefit to these house teams and to the British Isle teams when they're playing like either up a tier or down a tier, because we also changed how the weather works. So now there's the weather system was integrated in the last one, but it wasn't fully integrated. So now it's broken down by team rather than just having one blanket element. So all of these are based on a percentage. So we have House 1, which would be Gryffindor. They have a neutral rating in the sun environment, and then a 5% deduction in rain, 5% benefit inside of fog, and then a 10% deduction inside of snow. So each of the Hogwarts houses, they have a total of a negative 10% balance when it comes to weather. All of the British Isle teams come out to 0, and all of the professional teams come out to 0. However, depending upon where the specific teams are and where the type of weather that is active, so if we were to take, let's say, the United States here, so House 13, they are quite good in snow because it does snow in the United States. However, if you were to compare that to a team like House 20, which is Egypt, House 20, they are very good in the sun because it's a desert type of climate, but they are very bad in the snow type of environment. So a way to kind of balance how the teams operate is if you were to have a team that is good in snow, or even just neutral in snow, and you're to play them against Egypt where they have a 50% penalty, then they will not do very well. So you should be able to see the possibility of these British Isle teams being able to knock out the professional teams based on the tweaks and tuning and the tweaks and the weather. And so inside of our console log, you should be able to see that when the game is started. You'll be able to see when the weather is for a given team. Another key element that we integrated for this time around is a season. So right now we are currently in the first game of the season between Slytherin and Gryffindor here, and it's been going for a little bit here, so we will go up to our main camera here and we will turn on our cheats. So if cheats are enabled, you can see that right down here, and that allows us to either reload the game with like R or tweak some things with different keys, but the one that I want to do is catching the snitch, which is going to be S, which ends the current game that is going on. We can now see inside of our match stats, we have our stats page here. We also have our momentum graph here. So the momentum graph starts at 0, and it sort of dictates how the flow of the game went. So you can see that Slytherin took a little bit of a lead, and then Gryffindor pulled back, and then Slytherin started to just pull away with it, and then they ended up catching the snitch at the end of the game. So the max point difference here, if we were to see here, 370 versus 60, that is a 310 point gap. So you can see that the max difference is 310 points versus 310 points down here. So this is a way to kind of visualize how the game went. And then we also have a standings graph right down here. So for Hogwarts, we have 4 different teams here, and we have the wins, losses, and points that are tracked. And this is updated as you flow through the season. So instead of returning to the main menu, if you're inside of a season, you can just press the next game button, and it will automatically start the next round. So I will check to see if our snitch has been released. So our snitch is currently going, so we can press S, and we can quickly end the game here. So we can look at our match stats, and you can see our standings have been updated through there. Through our game 2, and our momentum, it was very quick, just the immediate snitch catch. So then we can go into the next game, and we can see the snitch going there, so we can press S, and the game already ended. You can see the standings get updated again, and we can press the next game again. We can do the next game once the snitch goes. And we are now at game 5 of 6 with Hufflepuff currently leading. And so our last game should be between Slytherin and Ravenclaw. There we go, Slytherin and Ravenclaw. And we can press S one more time, and then it will automatically open up the standings menu. So you can see that Hufflepuff went ahead and won there. And we can see our momentum graph and then our stats through there. And then we can also hit New Game, and it will be taken back to restarting the entire game. So this is our revised starting menu that Adrian so kindly added. We have a settings menu, doesn't do anything at the moment, but we can do Start Game. And if we were to do Season, then we can go into the flow that we just went into, where we can hit Begin there, between Slytherin and Gryffindor, or we can go into the exhibition menu, which gives us the same type of setup that we had before, of being able to select any type of team that we want. And you can see that we tweaked a couple of players down here and tweaked a couple of players over here. You can still pick any type of team that you want. So like if we were to do Egypt and put them in the snow environment, and then let's do Puddlemere. So this should be a lot closer of a match. But I believe that is the major elements that we worked through. In terms of the code structure for it, we have a couple of variables here. So we have a new structure for our teams. We have this season team class. So each of these game objects have their own team attached to it. Eventually we're going to start to integrate all of the tuning into here so we can move it out of a certain script. So then for the future roadmap, we'll be able to include like a free agent pool or like a creating your own team type of structure. So that way we can just create one of these, update the tuning through here, and then add them into a given season. But with each of these being active, we pull the first 4 of these, and those are included in our Hogwarts season. So if we were to look back over here at our code, we also have a list of teams that we want to pull in. So with Gryffindor being Team 0 and Slytherin being Team 1. So in the first game here, we would see Gryffindor versus Slytherin. And then each time that you increase the season game count, it will just move into the next 2 here. So instead of having to go through and hit begin match, it will just say, hey, I need to pull this team, and then it will go. And then when you increase the game count, it will say, I need this team, go. And then once you reach the end of the list, then it will put up the end game standings. So that is our update for Quidditch version 2.1. So you can go ahead and play that on itch. I will leave that game also in the video description. So thanks everybody for sticking around, and I can't wait to continue updating this game.